Good morning, students.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so we will continue our lecture on Unit 2, which is fibers. In our previous lectures, we were discussing about fibers like glass, carbon, and then boron fibers. So today we'll move on to the next fiber, which is one of the very important fibers used in the composites. It is the Kevlar fibers. So already you may have learned about Kevlar fibers. You have learned this during the man-made fibers manufacture. Can anyone tell what is meant by a Kevlar fiber?
Aramid fiber है ना sir?
Aramid fiber. What is an aramid fiber? What is meant by aramid?
Aromatic and amide.
Okay. Atish, can you tell me how this Kevlar fiber is manufactured? Yes, can you tell Atish how this aramid fiber is manufactured? Is Atish present? Kevlar is a type of para-aramid fiber. See, Kevlar is a trade name. Okay, para-aramid is the chemical class. In para-aramid family, there may be many types of fibers. One of them is Kevlar. Okay, so Kevlar is a para-aramid fiber which contains aromatic polyamides. Okay, that should contain more aromaticity. So how it is manufactured? It is manufactured through a low temperature polycondensation process of two precursors. One is the terephthalate chloride and the paraphenyl diamine along with the solvent, and then you extrude it through the spinnerate. So you obtain the para-aramid fiber, which is the trade name is the Kevlar. So this fiber, it's a high performance fiber, and it is highly heat resistant fiber for wherever the application demands the heat resistance, there these fibers are used. And these fibers, after manufacturing, during the drawing process, it undergoes a very high orientation along the fiber axis, and these fibers contain a lot of hydrogen bonds existing between the hydrogen and oxygen atoms in the transverse direction, especially if you see. It's a highly anisotropic fiber where with the better physical properties and mechanical properties in the longitudinal fiber direction, it will be physical and mechanical properties are better when compared to the radial or transverse direction. Already you have learned the manufacturing part of Kevlar, so I'm not going into manufacturing part once again. So we will now see what is the basic structure of Kevlar and what are the different fiber grades of Kevlar fibers. Okay, that is important for your composite part. So basically there are 3 different grades of Kevlar fibers. Okay, so what are they? They are Kevlar 29, Kevlar 49 and Kevlar 149. So what is the difference 29, 49 and 149? So it is actually, the difference is the modulus. Okay, if you just observe the stress strain curve of these Kevlar types of fiber grades of Kevlar, you can see here this Kevlar 29 and Kevlar 49 and Kevlar 149. Here you can see when the increase in the grade numbers, the modulus of the fiber gets increased. You see, observe here the 149 has the very highest modulus when you compare with the 49 or 29, and this is how the Kevlar fiber looks like. It is a high strength fiber, and it has a very less extensibility. Okay, So if you just compare it with other fibers like a nylon or Nomex or even Teflon or even say very highly elastic lycra fiber, this fiber is highly stiff and it has a very less extensibility. Okay, this is how the stress strain curve of the Kevlar looks like, and that is a comparison over how it is compared against the other high performance fibers. So in the aramid fibers, especially in the aramid family, whether it is a meta-aramid like a Nomex or a para-aramid like a Kevlar or Twaron or Technora fibers, there are various types are there. These three types which we have seen is the Kevlar 29, 49 and 149. Apart from that, there are other varieties also like Twaron and Twaron High Modulus and Technora. These are the again these are the trade names. Okay, but if you see the chemical class in the structure, if you observe all these Kevlar, these three Kevlar grades and these three grades, Twaron and Technora, all these have the para-oriented structure. Okay, so if you see here, just to compare the tenacity and modulus over the para-aramid fibers, if you observe, the tenacity is much higher for para-aramid fibers when you compare it with the meta-oriented fibers, and correspondingly, the modulus, that is the initial modulus, or let's say you can say the Young's modulus, it is higher for Kevlar fibers when you compare it with the Nomex fibers. That is why Kevlar, the development of Kevlar took place because of the meta-oriented structure in the Nomex. It was not promoting the very high intermolecular force of attraction, force of bonding. So that is the reason when they arrange it instead of meta portion, if they disarrange in the para portion, that leads to more very high intermolecular force of attraction, so that it facilitates more strength, and also the stiffness also gets correspondingly increased. Okay, so among this Kevlar grades along with the Twaron, there may be some very little difference if you observe in the tenacity. If you see this 2029 and 49, though there is some 50-point differences there. If you just compare with the Twaron fibers, almost they have only very mild difference maybe in the chemical structure. Mostly it is a orientation is para. Okay, you can just log on to these websites of Twaron or Technora company websites and see their product range, what products they are making, what is the difference in the Twaron and Technora. If you just observe, you can understand the chemically they look the same only. Maybe there will be from very mild difference will be exist between these para-aramid fibers. But specifically, if you compare for these three fibers, Kevlar 29, 49, and 149, you may observe that the modulus is very highest for the 149. That is specifically the fibers have been developed for the modulus improvement. Okay, and if you observe this fibers elongation at break, as I have told you, this fiber does not have that much of elastic property. If you just observe this stress strain curve, here you see this fiber, if you just compare it with the highly extensible fiber like lycra or say or even say nylon, these fibers have a very poor elasticity. Okay, if you just extend it to this thing, it will not undergo a very high extension, it will just break. Okay, though it has a very high strength, the elongation to break, it will not undergo a plastic deformation and extend to some extra level and then break. Okay, so if you just observe the fibers like 29, 49 and 149 and this Twaron and the Technora fibers, all these fibers have a very low elongation at break. Okay, and especially for this 149 where the modulus is very high, the elongation break is still much least actually when compared with the other fibers. But whereas if you just compare it over the meta-oriented fiber like a Nomex, the elongation break is much higher. That is what you may observe when you just happen to observe this Nomex stress strain curve with this Kevlar stress strain curve. This has a good elongation at break. Okay. And coming down to structure of aramates, for example, if you see the, or as I told you, all these 29, 49, or 149, basically the commonality in the para-aramid is fibers, these three fibers is the Yes. Could you hear me? Could you hear me, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There is a power supply cut and now it got restored. So we'll continue now. Yes, Vaibhav Vittal was raising the hand. What is you want? Vaibhav Daburkar.
Yes, sir.
You are raising the hand. What is that?
No, sir, by mistake. Sorry, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, then we will continue our lecture, which we were speaking. I was speaking about this Kevlar fibers. So we were speaking about. I was speaking about this different fiber grades of Kevlar and their tenacity and modulus and elongation to break. How it is important and how it is influencing when with respect to the difference in the fiber grade, how the tenacity and the modulus is different when you just compare it with the meta-oriented fibers like Nomex fibers. Okay, that I hope you have understood. That is what this strain curve also tells about the different fiber grades of Kevlar. Now we will see further in detail about what are the properties of these fibers. See, this aramid fiber, whether it is a 40 or 29 or a Twaron or any kind of a fiber, you may observe that all these types of aramid fibers, except the Nomex, the one which I am taking about, Kevlar, different grades, and Twaron and Technora, all these fibers have the para-oriented structure, okay, which contains the aromatic polyamides, where the amide group, it is connected to the aromatic rings. Okay, if you just observe this structure, this is how the Kevlar fiber structure looks like, where in the benzene ring, all this C double bond ONH. This is the amide group, where this oxygen group in the this C double bond O carboxyl group and this amide group, these are held by through the intermolecular hydrogen bonding. You can see here like this, there are plenty of repeating units of amides between every two layers. You can see here there is a repeating unit of the Kevlar molecule, which is connected through the other molecules with the help of a intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Okay. So here, this is how the molecular structure of the Kevlar looks like. There may be some little differences in the chemical structure, where, as I've told you, in the 29 or 49 or even 149. But if you see on the whole, generically, all these para-aramid fibers contain the para-oriented ring, which you can see here. So what is this para-oriented structure? Ka importance kya hai? See, they have the extended chains. The molecular chain is extended and highly oriented and almost completely crystalline. Okay, so this has a very highly oriented fiber structure, and these molecules, they form the planar sheets with the help of molecules are aligned through hydrogen bonding. So these structural features of the aramid fibers are much different when you compare it with the conventional fibers. And importantly, in the Kevlar fibers, if you just observe it using some microscopics like optical or electron microscopy, you may observe a pleated structure. Okay, just I will just show you a diagram. These pleated structure, these have a very small length, around say 500 nanometer, but the pleat, it is approximately equal and opposite in angles of around say 170 degrees. It's not centigrade, it's around 170 degrees. You can there like a zipper structure. If you just see in the normal type of a zipper structure, these pleats are arranged. You can see here. This is how the structure looks like. This is the one particular unit cell of the PPTA crystal, which is the paraphenylene terephthalate. Okay, which is the Kevlar. Actually, PPTA is the Kevlar. So here you see here this one we have already seen in the previous structure, where the fiber axis, how it is the structure is organized and it is connected through this high intermolecular force of attraction, where the hydrogen bonding is existing between the oxygen group and the hydrogen group, which you can see here. So, but if you just observe it through the microscopic level, you may observe a highly added lamella structure, like a zipper structure. You can see in the zip, if you see the metal zip fastener, if you observe the same kind of a small pleats, you will observe. Okay, so these pleats are also one of the reason for the very high orientation this fiber has. This fiber is organized in a very good orientation along the fiber axis. Okay, these pleats are around 500 nanometer long, with the adjacent components of pleat being approximately equal but opposite angles of 170 degrees. This arrangement is around, say, 170 degrees. Okay, so if you see this along this fiber axis, you can understand how these pleats are organized. Okay, so because of this, what happens? Because of this proper arrangement of these pleats, it gives the good orientation along the fiber axis. Okay, the proper orientation. That is the reason why you perform the liquid crystal spinning. If you just recall our discussion on the liquid crystal spinning of Kevlar, we convert the Kevlar into the form of a liquid crystal. When you make the solution of the PPTA and the sulfuric acid solution, before spinning, you can just convert into a stage of, say, liquid crystal shape. At a particular concentration, time and temperature, this liquid crystal formation occurs. That leads to the proper orientation. Okay, so when you further do the drawing process, then all these pleats get arranged properly at a particular angle with a nanometer length, and it leads to a proper added well organized orientation. Okay, so because of that, what is the advantage you are getting? So because of that, the fibers by itself, it is very highly crystalline, and it has the lowest density and the highest tensile strength. When you compare it with the high performance fibers, it has a strength to weight ratio is much higher. So when you compare it with some other fibers like steel, lowest density is not in the sense where the density is lesser than the natural fiber. Definitely the density is higher only, but if you just compare it with the metal like a steel, it has a lowest density and strength to weight ratio is very higher. Okay, if you see on this, when you compare it with steel, it has a much stronger than the steel wire and stiffer than the glass. It has a high modulus. Okay, and if you see after spinning, that is the as-spun Kevlar fiber, it will exhibit twice that plasticity and 9 times the modulus of the high strength nylon. Okay, the stiffness is very high because it's a weight is also very high. This fiber, that is one of the disadvantages, it's a very heavy fiber. If you just observe, when you compare it with the other fibers, high performance fiber, this fiber is a little heavy, highly, though it has a less density when compared to steel, but still these fibers have a high modulus, and so it is heavy. And one of the important advantage of this fiber is that it is highly thermal resistant. These fibers do not melt or support combustion, but around, say, 427 degrees, it will carbonize. Okay, carbonization is a process where when after the fiber, when it is exposed to flame and it starts generating some flammable gases, or when the carbonization starts with the help of oxygen, it will start burning. Here the burning will take place only at a very high temperature of, say, around 427. The carbonization will start only at around 427 degrees centigrade. But normally up to 160 degrees centigrade, you can safely use this temperature. The maximum long-term use temperature, continuously you can expose to 160 degrees centigrade for a long time. And another important thing is it has a very low thermal conductivity and very high vibration damping coefficient. For any places where there is a problem with the vibration is there, that places where the vibration needs to be arrested. Okay, see, for example, if you see, steel has a poor vibration problem because it gives more vibration when it is the nature of the steel. It gives more sound and vibration will be there, but this fiber has a good vibration damping coefficient. Like carbon fibers, this fiber also have a high vibration damping. It can arrest the vibration. Chemical resistance is good except with some few acids and alkalis, because you see in the structure the fiber contains hydrogen bonding, so that hydrogen bonding can be damaged by the some acids and alkalis, definitely. So as such, it is not a chemical resistance. We cannot say it is poor, but it is good, but it is not excellent. Okay. And importantly, the drawback with the Kevlar fibers is it is sensitive to ultraviolet lights. Okay. If you expose it to ultraviolet light, then the color may change. It will lead to affect the molecular structure of the Kevlar. So there may be some change in the color and the mechanical properties also. Okay, so that is the reason why when you prolonged exposure to sunlight, it causes some discoloration and some effect in the tensile strength also. So that is the reason why how you can overcome this disadvantage. Instead of using a virgin Kevlar fiber, you can just make a composite by using the Kevlar and some matrix material. You can combine and do some molding process to make a composite, so that the surface will be completely covered by the matrix material, so that this problem can be resolved, so that directly the fiber will not be exposed to sunlight. Otherwise, if you want to prevent this during the manufacturing stage itself, like for polypropylene, which also has a very poor UV resistance, you can add some UV absorbing fillers, UV light absorbing fillers, so that can reduce the problem. Okay, and another thing is that these fibers are hygroscopic. Okay, because it has a very high hydrogen bonding is there, so definitely this will absorb moisture. You can absorb moisture up to 6% moisture at a 100% relative humidity at around say 23 degrees centigrade. Okay, but you see, unlike if you compare it with some fibers like a viscose rayon, where when you expose it to the high relative humidity, there may be change in the mechanical property. When the fiber has a poor wet strength during the high relative humidity, the hydrogen bonds will get broken, so that the strength of the viscose rayon will get reduced. But whereas for these fibers, though there is a change in the relative humidity, that will not have a very little effect on the tensile strength. Okay, but it has a water absorbency because of the hydrogen bonding is there. Okay, because this OH group is a water absorbing group. Okay, but when the higher moisture content, when the moisture content becomes very high, then in that case there may be some internal cracks or some micro voids, so that some splitting of the fibrils, whichever you have seen the plates that may split also, that this will happen at a very high moisture content will be there. So this problem also can be resolved when you make a composite out of it, so that the Kevlar fibers will get protected. Okay, then next is the Kevlar 29 fibers. Kevlar 49 is a fiber where the modulus also is in between, and the tenacity is also in between both the 29 and 149 fibers. But if you see that 29 fibers, it is mainly used in the belting in the radial tires. Okay, so this is tires. When you learn about the tire cord manufacturing, you will understand what is meant by a radial tire. There is a tire called the radial tire, where they aligned all the tire cords in some particular direction, say around 90 degree to the fiber axis. They will align the tire cords in a particular direction around the tire axle. They will, when during the manufacturing of tire cords, you will learn this: what is a radial tire, what is a bias tire. Those things you will learn. So these Kevlar 29 fibers, because of the good heat resistance, these fibers can be used as a tire cords, radial tire cords, so that these tires can be used in the heavy duty truck tires and aircraft tires, so that because of the very good heat resistance, it can withstand more heat resistance. So this can be used. An advantage of this Kevlar 29, it has a low weight, greater durability, low resistance to rolling, which is very important for the tires, because tire is the one which is in the frequent contact with the road. So that is important, and that is possible with these fibers, and it has a lower cost than steel. These are advantages. And Kevlar 149, yes, it is a second generation of Kevlar fiber, and it has the highest tensile modulus, which we have seen in the previous table when we discussed. And these are commercially available. So the tensile modulus is much higher, around 40% higher than 49. And strain to failure is lower because it has a very elongation to break is very less. Okay, it will not undergo extension before breaking. It will just directly break. After it reaches the particular point, it will just break. Okay, and this fiber has a moisture content is much less. You say around 1.2%. Normally, if you observe for the normal Kevlar 29 or 49 fibers, it may be around 6% moisture. But whereas here, this Kevlar 149 fibers, it has a very low moisture content also. This is used for application where the higher modulus is required. Okay, since the elongation to break is also less, strain to failure is also less, obviously it has a lower creep. Okay, the extension with time, the creep property is also very less when you compare with the 49 fibers. Only advantage of this fiber is it has a high strength, and especially when compared with the strength, the modulus is much higher. Okay. And coming down to our discussion on composite manufacture, since you have now the idea about the Kevlar fiber manufacturing and types of Kevlar used, the stress strain curve, the difference in the modulus and the difference in the strain to failure, difference in the elongation to break, difference in the moisture content, its properties, etc. Apart from that, in what form it can be used in the composite? Okay, ultimately, you are studying this Kevlar fibers because you are going to use it as a reinforcement in the composite manufacture. Okay, so the major fiber and product forms. What are the major fiber and product forms in the Kevlar that you need to know? See, the major forms are continuous filament yarns, rovings, woven fabrics, short staple and spun yarns, fabrics and pulp. Okay, so there are other forms also, like you can use as a textured yarn, needle punched felts, spun laced sheets, and wet laid papers. These in different forms it is available. Depending upon what type of a composite manufacturing process you are going to use, that will decide what type of a product you need to use for that particular process. Okay, and another great advantage of Kevlar fiber is it can be woven on fabric looms more easily than brittle fibers when compared like glass or carbon or ceramic, which are very complex and difficult fibers to weave using the conventional weaving machines. Okay, like looms. So you can normally we can do the ring spinning. You can do normal spinning, and you can, by using the proper power loom, you can weave this Kevlar fibers, Kevlar fabrics, and these fibers are very strong and non-brittle. That is very important, because if you see the high performance fibers like ceramic fiber, those are brittle in nature. It will just break, though it has a very advantageous properties like heat resistance that may break also. So, but this fiber is a non-brittle and flexible fiber. Okay, so it can be twisted, braided, woven, knitted, carded, and felted. So many applications are possible. So in various forms you can convert. Okay, so when you say take the yarns can be usually used in the process like filament winding. Filament winding is one of the process of manufacturing of composite. Or you can make it into a pre-preg tape, and you can use it in the pultrusion process, where you will learn actually where the continuously the rovings are used to manufacture the composite. See, if you see the properties, one of the important property which is advantageous in one aspect and it may be disadvantage also, it is a very tough fiber. Okay, so it is a tough fiber, so it is difficult to cut the fiber. Okay, the cut resistance is very high. That is why Kevlar fibers are worn by people in the form of gloves when anyone is operating in a place where there is a huge sharp objects are there. When he is operating where there is a chance for accident, so in that place the Kevlar gloves can be worn while working there. Okay, in place of any cutting tools are there, so it is very difficult to cut the fiber. Okay. And what is the reason for that? As I've told you already, it has a very high orientation. Okay, that orientation aspect I have explained you in the morphology. So when you want to cut the fiber, you need some special shears and cutting tools. With the normal hand or any kind of a thing, easily you cannot cut the aramid fibers. Okay, and you can make this Kevlar into various forms, as I have told you. In fabric also, you can convert into this para-aramis can be converted into different wheel structures like sateen, plain, frill, or etc. So that is possible, and it is used in the protective clothing industry where it can be knitted or woven in product forms. You can see this. This kind of fabrics can be produced where the unidirectional type of woven fabrics can be produced. So there are. It is a very versatile type of fiber. One of the disadvantage with this fiber is this. It is heavy. Okay, that is the main drawback with this fiber, and another is the UV resistance and moisture absorption is good. In the commonly you see 6% moisture absorption is possible, and if the moisture content becomes too much higher, then it may actually create some internal cracks, which you can actually take care of these problems. When you make a composite, these problems can be taken care, and it is used in many applications are there. The applications are plenty for the Kevlar fibers, from the making the boat hulls or ballistic fabrics. Many applications it can be used, but here, since our discussion is on composite, I am not going into explaining about those things. So that's all about the Kevlar fibers. You need to know briefly about this. What are the time manufacture? What is the what are its properties, advantages, disadvantages, fiber and product forms which are possible. These things you need to learn, so that when you study the composite manufacture, you will understand, okay, why, so that why you have studied this. Okay, so that's all about the Kevlar fibers. So I am stopping here for today. If you have any doubts, you can ask.